Are we live? Oh, I think we're live. What is going on, world? Thank you guys so much for joining another Hangout with the Hungarian live stream. If you guys can hear everything good, if everything looks good, I'd love if you'd let me know in the comment section there, and then we'll get going here. But basically, if you guys have been in other ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a link inside the live chat. And if you guys want to join in live during the stream, say what's up to everyone else who follows along the journey, ask me any questions, or basically just hang out with the Hungarian live, feel free. I'm going to throw it in there. Unknown expressions in the chat says, yes, can hear you, man. That's awesome. All right. So once again, I'm going to throw this link inside the live chat. If anyone wants to join, feel free. We do have a bunch of topics I want to cover here today. So if you guys see from the title, I'm going to be starting the carnivore versus vegan experiment. So this is going to be an intense experiment. I'm not going to dive into it yet. I'll save it a little bit till we get a few more people in the stream here. But basically, in this live stream, I'm going to cover the procedure that I'm going to do. I still have a bunch of research to do, so I'd love any kind of feedback on either the carnivore or the vegan diet, or just your feedback and your suggestions in general, especially if you guys have conducted these on yourself. Now, again, we're going to dive into that in a little bit here. We're going to let some more people pop in. If you guys are joining in, I'd love to know where you guys from in the world. Let me know, and we'll get into some of your comments and some of your questions in the chat there. But something else we're going to cover today as well, too, is cherry picking data or cherry picking scientific research. So recently I got a comment come in, a comment from a vegan person saying, oh, here's some science for you. Here's some science for you. And then when I rebutted their science, and I gave them scientific research that said, the science you're using is kind of weak, they go, oh, you're cherry picking data. And they actually, messaged me on Facebook as well, too. And I had to say, like, we're going to dive into all that. But basically, cherry picking scientific research. This is another subject that I didn't want to make a whole video specifically about, so we'll lightly cover that today. I'm also reading a new book, so let's actually get into that right now. So if you guys have been following me on Instagram or following along some of my vlogs, I just finished reading The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. Great book, full of so much information, so much to take away from that book. If you guys are interested, I really suggest picking up almost any of Robert Greene's books. He dives so deep, and it's so rich in history, going back to like kings and queens, and the 48 Laws of Power was an amazing book. Mastery, that book completely changed my life and changed the trajectory of my life at a very young age. And as I mentioned, I just finished reading The Art of Seduction, and I believe there's a lot of amazing takeaways that you can get from that. And I also have the 33 Strategies of War that I want to dive into, but all his books are very long, very deep. So I thought I'd start reading this book. So I got this for Christmas from the Hungarian mother. Shout out to my mom. I basically have a big list of books that I want, and she picked this one up for me. This is War Before Civilization by Lawrence H. Keeley? Yeah, Lawrence H. Keeley. Now, I dive a little deeper into this in an upcoming vlog, but basically, this is the myth of the peaceful savage. So basically, there's this kind of narrative that a lot of people believe that, our ancient ancestors were very peaceful. They didn't fight or have war. And I'm already like almost a quarter of the way through the book already in just a couple days. And he breaks down how a lot of archaeologists, a lot of people in the, in history who are like trying to say that they were peaceful in the past are using semantics to justify that, or they're really not looking deep into that. So get ready, guys. This is going to be coming up in some upcoming vlogs. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but if you guys are interested, I really suggest picking up this book. So let's quickly pop into the chat there, say what's up to everyone. So we have 0691CT gave a smiley face. What's going on? Thank you for being here. Unknown Expression says East Coast US. That's amazing. We have BF in the chat. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for being here again. She says, hey. We have Rudd Atlas says from the Netherlands. That's amazing. And then Unknown Expression also says, I've just started reading Sapiens. Very into that. That's amazing. That's actually another book I have on my list. I have to do another book order because once I finish War Before Civilization here and I finish the 33 Strategies of War, I need to do another book order. So if you guys have any great ideas for books, let me know. Definitely picking up Sapiens. And in an upcoming video, where I'm breaking down scientific research again, uh, I ordered a book called Hitler's Professors. And basically, it's the whole idea that a lot of the experts during the whole Nazi time were very unjustified in their research. And they were making a lot of claims because they felt compelled to. And that's what I believe a lot of experts do. They put their bias into stuff. So, yeah, I can't wait for that book. I feel like I'm not sure if I'm going to put that book too much on the internet just because I don't know what kind of feedback I'm going to get. I'm definitely going to share it with you guys, but I feel like that could really, it's a very polarizing subject and a polarizing idea. So we have Tio Fargo says, just so you have to read up my name. Tio Ferrargo? I'm not sure how to say that, but thank you so much. Once again, I'm going to throw the invite link into the chat. If anyone wants to hop on live here, pop into the actual live stream, join me. But if not, I'll just keep answering your questions and comments. As I mentioned, I have a bunch here I want to cover. And also, what do you guys think of the mustache? Look at this thing coming in. You guys voted for me to keep the beard. And recently I noticed, like, damn, this thing's really curling. And I featured this on Facebook and Instagram, and some of you guys are loving it. I still don't know if I really like it or I really hate it. I'm kind of in this middle section. This beard's getting a little out of hand as well, too. But if you guys love it, I love some feedback. Tell me, you guys love it or you hate it? Should I keep it or should I cut it? Let me know in the comments section there. But as I mentioned, today we're going to discuss the carnivore versus vegan experiment. So after putting out, let me share my screen here because I did a poll on Instagram seeing who wants me to do this crazy experiment. So I said, I'm considering doing 3 months of carnivore, then 3 months of vegan. Should I do it? And 91% of you voted yes. And only 9% voted no. I got a lot of great feedback. I had a lot of people messaging me saying, man, this is something I really want to see. You're the right person for this because I feel like you're going to be open and honest about it. So I'm getting like mustache hairs in my mouth. But you're going to be open and honest about it. And that's my whole thing here. Like, I don't have a narrative. Like, I haven't seen conclusive evidence on either side showing that you're going to have long-term negative health effects from either of these diets. The science is very weak in that area. So we'll pop into this one here. 124 of you guys wanted to see this experiment happen. So guys, guess what? We are going to do it. I'm going to go vegan and carnivore. But instead of just 3 months, I decided I think 100 days is better. So 3 months would have been about 90 days. So I thought, might as well just push it to 100 days. Let's make this really serious here. So once again, if you guys have any kind of feedback, I'd love to know because I'm keeping like a sheet here. If you guys have any suggestions for me, let me know. I'm going to write it down. But basically, like, I printed out a whole calendar here and I try to figure out how this is going to work for my whole year. So basically, again, I'm going to do 100 days of carnivore and I'm going to begin on May 13th. So about halfway through May there. And then I'm going to go 100 days. So we got L-4 just joined the live stream. Let me just finish this little subject here on my my carnivore versus meat experiment. Then we're going to invite you into the stream. Hopefully nothing crazy goes on, but just give me a minute here and we'll invite you in. So again, I'm going to do that for 100 days, 100 days of carnivore, which will take me to August 20th. Then after reading some feedback from people, they said, don't switch right into vegan. Like, you got to give like a little adjustment period. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 weeks off, just go back to my normal diet and lifestyle where I still eat meat, but I still eat veggies and I still eat fruit. And then we're going to do 100 days of vegan. So basically the procedure right now is May 13th to August 20th will be 100 days of carnivore. Then from August 21st to September 10th, I'm going to have a normal diet. Then from September 11th till December 19th, I'm going to go vegan. So this is the rest of the year for me, basically. I'm gonna have Christmas to, eat with my family and enjoy myself, at least if quarantine's all done with. But basically, that's the rest of my year here. So if you guys watch an upcoming vlog, I I actually had a cheat day yesterday. So I ate quite healthy throughout the day, but then I got a pizza last night and some wings because I wanted to enjoy this kind of like last, 15 days or so here where I'm going to have like a normal diet and routine. Now, I'm not going to eat like crazy. I'm not going to binge out. Today, I've been fasting all day because I had just had that cheat day last night, but I'm really excited to, experiment with this, to document and share it with you guys. I've been following a lot of carnivores. I have friends like Matt's vegan, Kellen, as I mentioned in my upcoming vlog, who helped me and Matt start the social lab and who I've been friends with for several years now. He's vegan, his girlfriend's vegan. I see that, you can maintain and live a great life while vegan. Same with carnivore. I've been following people on, like, I don't know anyone personally who's been doing carnivore for a long period of time, besides people I've been following online, like Sean Baker, for instance. And after I started following him, and even recently, now that I decided that I'm going to do this, I started really following a bunch of other people. I found some ladies out there who are claiming that they've been carnivore for over 10 years now. So they've been carnivore for a decade, females, and they're fine, no kind of issues, no negative repercussions or anything like that. Now, again, I don't believe there's any conclusive scientific evidence. It's all just weak science in regards to nutrition as to, is this going to lead to heart disease, is this going to lead to kind of cancer? The science is very weak, there's very limited studies, and there's always studies contradicting each other. So what I believe, and I'm not going to push it too hard in this live stream, is we need human experiments out there in the world. We need people doing similar to what I'm doing, who's just documenting their lives, doing different experiments. But I'd also love to see myself, as well as all these people, getting tested regularly. Blood, hormones, brain scans. So what I'm going to try to do, again, I have about 13 days to do as much research as I can, but I'm going to try to get blood tests done. I'm going to try to get as much like testing as I can done on my body. Right now with quarantine and everything going on, there's not much doctors. There's not much, the Western University right now is closed down and they're not doing any kind of science. So I'm going to see if I can get anything done. If any of you guys know, can I get like home blood test? What does that entail? What kind of testing can I get done? I love to know. And please, guys, give me your feedback. But in general, what I have heard is that, like, on vegan diets, you do need to supplement certain things. I've heard on carnivore that you don't need to supplement really at all. Now, I'm going to do a lot more research before. Right now, I'm currently listening to Ben Greenfield's podcast. Shout out to Corey McKinnon. Thank you so much for sending that my way. But once again, if you guys have any research here, if you guys have any information that you'd love me to dive into, I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video on it or just inform myself on that subject, but I'd love to know because I want to do as much research as I can before I dive into this. I don't want to get sick, and I want to try to eat as whole and healthy foods as possible. If I don't have to supplement, I don't want to supplement. So I don't want to be taking anything I think you can't get naturally. So that's basically it here. That's it for the carnivore versus vegan experiment. Again, I have to do a bunch more research, but I'm excited for that. So we're going to pop back into the chat here in a sec and see what everyone's been saying. But we do have L-4 in the stream. So I'm going to invite you in. I'm not sure if I'm wearing the right headphones here. Oh, okay. We lost L-4. Never mind. If you're still there, man, I think you need to turn on your microphone and turn on your webcam. But let's pop into the chat here and see what's up with everyone. So once again, thank you so much for everyone being here. I found a new way to share everyone. So 0691CT, thank you so much for being here. We have Unknown Expression, East Coast US. We have BF, hey, what's going on? Rude Atlas from Netherlands. And Tio Ferrero. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but thank you guys so much for being here. We have Unknown Expression says, keep growing it. So something I have been considering. I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to do it, but I'm really considering And I'd love to know what you guys think, that I'm gonna shave this and buzz my head before the carnivore experiment, and then right before the vegan experiment. So then we can even see, like, does facial hair and head hair growth change during these experiments? I don't know if I really want to do it. I'm kind of loving the mustache and how the beard's kind of coming in. Again, it's at this weird kind of curly stage, but it's really like coming in. I don't know. I like it. So I'm on that edge of like, should I do it or should I not do it? And I think, I don't know, if I'm going to go full human experiment on this, I think that really proves that like I'm really dedicated to this. So we got Tio Ferrargo says, I did carnivore for a while, but I haven't noticed a significant difference. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I believe you have to be doing these diets really long term. We as human beings, our bodies are extremely, extremely adaptable. We're highly malleable. We can really adapt to many things. I remember a comment from way back when I said, I stopped eating a lot of dairy and drinking milk, and I found a great change to myself. And someone commented saying, like, man, I do dairy and stuff all the time and I have no issues. I said, well, stop for 6 months, or stop for even a month or two, and then start it again, and then see if that has any kind of effect. So what I've noticed for myself, especially with fasting, fasting for just fasting for like 24 hours. The other day I just did 40 hours. It's you can feel when you introduce things that your body doesn't like into it, especially after you do even longer fasts, like 60 hours, 2.5 days, or 72, 3 days. After my 104-hour fast, like, once you eat something your body doesn't like if I eat cheese and dairy, like, nothing bad happens, but I can tell, like, if I order something at a restaurant and there's cheese or dairy in it, I can tell the second it's in my body. Like, I'm just hyper aware of it. So I think our bodies are highly adaptable. So if you keep eating like that consistently if I were to keep eating like that consistently for a couple weeks, and then I introduced, had a piece of dairy the next day, like, I wouldn't probably know, like, I wouldn't feel it activate in my gut, because I feel like it's going to adapt to it. We have a microbial flora in our gut that communicates with our brain, affects our whole physiological process, affects our hormones. And when you manipulate that, or you adapt it to a certain diet, I think, like, you get adapted to it. It's just how it is. Unknown Expression says, oop, let me put you back in here. Unknown Expression says, I was vegetarian for a long time. I saw you make that steak the other day and wish I could eat that. I know with me it is psychological. I can eat chicken but can't bring myself to eat beef or pork. Yeah, and that's 100% understandable. And I agree with the moral and ethical aspects about it, and especially people who do eat for that specific reason. But in general, my issue is when people try to say, well, the science says this and the science says that. I say the science is too weak to really conclude anything. And we're actually going to get into that a bit here, where I have a vegan named David Kolb, I believe that's his name, who's trying to justify a lot of bullshit, in my opinion. And he's saying I'm cherry picking data, but we're going to see he's the one actually cherry picking data. So we got Rude Atlas says, how do you get your vitamin C on a carnivore diet? So again, I still have to do my research, but according to this podcast that I'm listening to right now with Ben Greenfield and a doctor who's carnivore and believes in the carnivore diet and promotes it and shows a lot of health benefits for it, and he's testing himself, is that his vitamin levels are very high. So that's a big question, and that's what I want to learn more about. So that's why I find for myself, I have to actually experiment with this for me to do the research behind it. If I'm just going to theorize on it and try to look at other people's diets and stuff, I won't dive as deeply into it. But when I'm going to do something, I really dive into the research. So I'll definitely find out and I'll let you know. I know that I'm going to be able to make a ton of content from these experiments. Like, what am I shopping for? Like, my grocery haul for carnivore, my grocery haul for vegan, day 1 of carnivore, day 2 of carnivore. Like, I'm going to be able to make a lot of content from it, and a bunch of the research I'm going to make content from as well. So 1106 Link says, good luck and have fun. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Again, guys, I don't have a narrative here. I'm not saying that the carnivore is going to be better. I'm not saying that the vegan is going to be better. Again, from what I've seen is that you have to supplement on a vegan diet. And I believe if you have to supplement on a diet, it's not the most optimal diet if you can't get the full nutrition from it. So Like if you can't get all the vitamins and minerals and everything you need from a certain diet, then is it optimal? Is it the best thing for us as human beings? That's just what I question. We have Tio Fargo says, but the real question is, do you eat mushrooms on the carnivore diet? So this is why I actually think it's the best time for me to do this experiment. Because if you guys are following along some of my past videos, I'm going straight edge for a full year. So my birthday was on April 11th. And I said, until next year, until I'm 31 years old, I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm not going to smoke weed, and I'm not going to do mushrooms. Now, I already stopped mushrooms a month or two before my birthday. I stopped smoking weed 2.5 to 3 weeks before my birthday, but I did have a couple drinks on my birthday. So basically, this is, I think, the best year for me to do it because I'm not going to be smoking. There's no drinking. There's nothing to tempt me or to be like, oh, why not have a drink? Like, this is the best year, I think, for me to actually really push this to its limits because I'm just going straight edge in general. So for other people, yeah, I think you can. I'm going to see what I can have with it. Like, can I have jalapenos? Is that going to mess it up? Can I have garlic? Because I love garlic, and I love garlic like with my meat. So that's a big question for me. And again, I'm going to have to do my research. But let's see, guys. This is all stuff I have to find out. Sorry, this mustache is getting in my mouth. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the mustache? And again, should I shave and buzz my head for the carnivore and vegan experiments? Let me know, guys. All right. We got L4 here. Let me pop you in here, man. Really appreciate you joining. I think it's these headphones. I might have to switch headphones, but let's invite L4 in. Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm all right. I'm watching from the United Kingdom.
Oh, from the UK. That's amazing, man. Really appreciate you being on the live stream here.
That's good. That's good.
So if you don't mind me asking, how'd you come upon my journey? How'd you find the Hungarian experiment?
I saw the first video I saw of you. It was where you were doing those what's it called? Those breathing exercise where you were doing you were popping your stomach inside. I don't remember the term.
The stomach vacuum?
So I saw it like way back, and after I kind of see, I was like, it would be dope if one day I'll be able to do it. So I subscribed to it since, and from time to time I check your videos.
Man, that's amazing. Really appreciate having you on my journey, man. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Did you have any kind of questions or anything?
Like one of the question would be like the carnivore diet. Don't you think it would be more expensive to maintain, since the meat is more expensive usually? It depends.
Yeah, no, I definitely that's something that I'm considering, and I'm going to definitely document and try to figure out like how much am I spending on this. I didn't really think to, document the spending of it. I was going to bulk buy everything and kind of freeze it. Yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly. I haven't really considered the financial aspect of carnivore versus vegan diet.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that at least for myself, I think my lifestyle is going to be easier with the carnivore versus the vegan because I'm not going to really have to prep too much. I'll just like throw everything in a freezer and then basically pull it out in the morning and then salt and pepper it and then cook it all up at once. Versus I feel like with a vegan diet, I'm going to have to go to the grocery store a lot more often. I'm going to have to go almost weekly to get fresh veggies. Yeah, so I haven't really considered that. So really appreciate that, man. I didn't think of that at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll definitely update in some videos. Awesome. Any other kind of questions?
Not on top of my head,
No worries, man. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Do you want anyone to go follow you on Instagram or anything? What's your Instagram?
I don't actually only use YouTube and WhatsApp, so I don't use the other social media.
Staying incognito. I like it. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for being in the stream here. I'm going to get back to some comments, but really appreciate you, man. Thank you for being part of the journey.
Thank you.
Guys, I love the Hangout with the Hungarian. I'm going to throw the invite link back into the chat if anyone wants to join here. We'll get to a few more comments, but thank you so much, L4, for being part of the chat. It's so amazing to find out like how you guys came upon the journey. And, you know, hearing your guys' questions live, like this is so much fun. So thank you guys so much for being here. Let me make sure I put that into the chat. Okay, perfect. So we got Misha Maybels is in the chat again. Thank you so much. She says, always good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Black Pearl 13 did vegan for 1 year, then 1 year vegetarian. Now I eat meat again. I feel so much better. What were some of the issues you noticed with the vegan and vegetarian diet? Why did you go back to meat? And what do you feel better with in now? So like, do you feel you have more energy? Was your gut not feeling the best? Again, I've and I'm going to feature on my channel in the upcoming year here, Vegetable Police. He's a very interesting YouTuber. Again, I haven't followed him in a while, but I'm going to treat him as a human experiment. And basically, he was vegan for a long time, and then he switched to meat and a carnivore diet. And from the few videos that I did see, he found great results, and he was praising it very highly. Now, I don't know since then if I've been like since I've stopped watching his videos, if he switched back to vegan or what he's doing now. But I have heard a lot of vegans over time go back to a normal lifestyle. So that's just something that I'm interested in. I feel like 100 days I'll be able to do it and I won't see any negative effects. And again, I'm going to try to eat as healthy and whole and nutritious as possible. But it's something that I'm interested in because, again, I don't want to dive too much into it. We're going to dive into this guy who's cherry picking data, but some vegans are very like militant about it. They're very like persistent. They're very trying to get other people on the diet. And when I watch carnivores, they're just justifying with science. They're just saying, here's some more proof, even though I think a lot of the science is weak in nature. They're just justifying it. They're not trying to force it on anyone. If someone's interested in asking, they try to help them and try to give them as much feedback as possible. Now, not saying all vegans are like that, but there are many like militant vegans who treat it as a religion, who treat it like an ideology. They hold very, very, their diet is their identity almost. And without that identity, I feel like some of these militant vegans would feel lost in the world. So their diet is like a way for them to have a kind of meaning. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel some of the science that they use is very weak. So we got Unknown Expression says, I would love to overcome the psychological block I have with meat. I just don't like the taste, but I know my body needs it. I have way too many carbs. So that's something too. Let's actually dive into this right now. So again, this is the guy who on my last I made a video called Red Meat Causes Cancer, Not Good Science. So we're going to dive into the comment section of that video here because this guy initially popped up on my Facebook on a post I made about high fruit diets. And, when you're eating a lot of fruit, there's fructose in it. And fructose can only be processed by the liver. And it's fine to have fruit in your diet. But when all you're doing is having a ton of fruit and that sugar can only be processed by your liver, it can lead to fatty liver disease. It can lead to negative issues. Now, I believe you can still have a healthy, whole, nutritious vegan diet and not be eating all fruit. But there's some like fruitarians. There's some people who eat a large majority of their vegan diet is fruit. Now, again, sugar, glucose can be processed by the whole body, but fructose can't. So we're going to dive into that post a little bit. But first, I want to show cherry picking data here. So we have, let's scroll down here. So David Kolb, again, he just posted a link. And I said, thank you for sharing, but do you have anything to say about it? This is just another article sharing the exact study I'm discussing here. So we won't dive into this study. It's from CNBC, but they use the study that I'm saying here where 14 panelists from around the world who were selected to, not have any bias, reviewed all the research in regards to red meat consumption that they could find. Now, they looked at observational studies, and in this red meat video, I discuss how observational studies are very weak because what they do is they test a lot of people. So one of the observational studies I use in this video, they tested 48,000 people over 18 years, which again sounds like strong science when you just hear it. But what they did is all they did was give them a questionnaire at the beginning and give them a questionnaire at the end of the 18 years. And then they took all that data and again, the study doesn't draw mass conclusions. What they say here is, what we noticed from this study was there was a 22 vegans and vegetarians had a 22% reduction in heart disease, but also a 20% increase in stroke. So this article that David Kolb here shares features that study. And I said, like, man, this is a weak study. In my video, I concluded, like, this is a weak study to really conclude anything. And again, that big study with the 14 panelists also looked at a whole bunch of other research. They looked at randomized trials, and their conclusion was, we can't really conclude anything. Eat the same amount of meat that you're eating because there's the science is not conclusive, and even our suggestion is a weak suggestion. That's a conclusion from a study done in the last 6 months, reviewing all the studies that says it's weak. There's not much we can conclude. Nutrition science is weak science. So I just said, thanks for sharing, but do you have anything to say about it? This is just another article sharing the exact study I'm discussing here. He says, guess you didn't read the article I posted. You just made an assumption. And I said, you don't leave any feedback about it, though. What conclusion are you trying to make by sharing it? I did read it. And as I said, it referenced the exact study I'm discussing in this video, which I deduce is overall weak science, and a bunch of experts say it's controversial. Did you even watch my full video? So this is, again, David Kolb is what I feel is a militant vegan. He doesn't watch the 36-minute video I made, but he posts his narrative. He says, well, here's my thing. Look at my thing first. Well, if you're not going to, you're not going to challenge a point in the video and just share an article, what are you even saying here? What am I supposed to rebuttal you with? I just said you can't just post an article on a 35-minute long video and leave no feedback about it. Are you using it to challenge a piece from the video or to argue with it? I have no idea what you're trying to say here. And then I said, yes, I remember your username. You recently commented on one of my Facebook posts. So again, we'll get into that in a sec here. But here he says, people like you are not interested in facts. You just cherry pick what suits your view, which I had presented you was 100% fact-based info. And I said, like, people like you, go ahead, David, pick on the person and not the actual science. So he's picking on me and not the science I leave in the video. Again, this militant vegan. And that's definitely how you have a logical discussion on the internet. I doubt you watch the video and science I displayed because you identify with your diet and your lifestyle choices so much that it leads you to be ignorant of other information people have to present. Thanks for your time and putting extra views on this video, but you're just wasting my time now and present nothing to challenge the points I made in this video. And then he kept posting, shared another video and stuff where it's like, oh my God, man. So let's go on to where he first kind of discovered me. I'm not sure how he came upon this, but I shared a piece from The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. So this is a great book. And in this book, he has a section, just one page of the whole book, saying the forbidden fruit fructose. Can fruit juice really screw up fat loss? Oh yes, and it screws up much more. Not to speculate, I tested the effect of fructose in 2 tests. The first during a no fructose diet, so no juice, no fruit, and the second after 1 week of consuming 14 ounces, about 1.5 large glasses of pulp-free orange juice upon waking and before bed. The orange juice was the only thing distinguishing diets A and B. The changes were incredible. Now, don't get me wrong here. He did a 1-week study on himself. Not strong science, but what we can see in his body, we can try to interpret and see if that's negative or positive long term. And again, in my post, as we're about to look here, I didn't say anything conclusive. I just said, this is something we need to be concerned about. So again, he shows here, before and after the fruit juice, his cholesterol went up out of a healthy range, and his LDL, so his fat levels, a certain type of fat, went up also out of range. And there were 2 other values that shot up unexpectedly. Now, this is what's important for men. Albinium, it went up from 4.3 to 4.9, which is out of range. And iron, from 71 to 191, out of range, aka into the stratosphere. So high fruit diets, at least from this short study that he did on himself, jacked his iron levels up huge. Now, iron is important, especially for women. But as we're going to read here, albinium, which his albinium raised, binds to testosterone and renders it inert, much like SHBG, but weaker. I don't want either to be out of range high, but for the bad for the manly arts. So again, albinium, if you go do your research on it, it binds to testosterone. And when you have too much of it in the body, you can still have testosterone in your body, but it's bound to it and it's not allowing it to plug into where it needs to go because it's like holding one of the receptors. It's taking the receptor from where it wants to bind in your body. So you don't, especially for men, you don't want to have high albinium levels. Now, in regards to iron, so if you said, holy shit, when you saw the iron jump, we're in the same boat. This result was completely out of the blue and is not good, especially in men. It might come as a surprise, but men don't menstruate. That means that men lack a good method for clearing out excessive iron, which can be toxic. The increase in iron was far more alarming to me than the changes in cholesterol. And then he dives into a little bit more here, but it's not conclusive to the post here. So I just want to check real quick here. Everyone can see everything good. Am I popping in and out here, or can you guys see me or not? Looks like we're having some issues. Let me just test the camera here. I think we're having some issues with the camera. If you guys can let me know if you can see me properly or not. Something looks like it's weird going on there. I'll just keep going here. Hopefully I'll get a comment letting me know if this is all good. But what I posted here is, should men go vegan? I'm asking a question. This is a piece from Tim Ferriss's book, blah, 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 blah. Now, I question the vegan aspect because it is currently a controversial subject, and I find many people are switching their nutrition and diet due to morality over fully understanding the science. And I find many vegan diets, but not just vegan diets, of course, contain large fruit smoothies and drinks eaten in a small window, which has similar, if not the same effects, the same amounts of fructose as drinking a fruit juice. So again, I think you can still eat a healthy vegan diet. You just don't want to be having an overload of fruit. We're going to pop in here. Can't see you, but can hear you, though. All right. So we might have to change something up here. I don't know what's going on with the camera real quick. Let me just check here. Yeah, something's going weird here. So I might have to just change it to my laptop camera. So we're going to degrade the quality a bit. Woo. All right. Hopefully you guys can see me there a little bit better. I don't know what was going on there. I'm using the DSLR camera and that really went crappy for some reason. So I'm not too sure what happened there. But if you guys can see me good and everything's good, let me know. But we'll keep going here. So basically, that was my conclusion, is that in our natural setting as hunter and gatherers, we didn't have the ability to blend up and chug down a gigantic fruit smoothie or juice. You would have to physically chew them all, which would take you a lot longer to ingest and digest, delaying the overconsumption of fructose and satiating the body. Along with this, unlike glucose, which is directly metabolized widely in the body, fructose is almost entirely metabolized in the liver, which, given enough stress, can lead to fatty liver disease, which doesn't cause serious problems, but it can lead to liver damage. Now, that's what I was discussing a little earlier there, is that like it would take you years for your liver to start like developing this over adaptation. You could probably do it for a good year or two, couple of years, and then over time you're going to start developing fatty liver disease because you're just overloading this organ. You're just hitting it every day, and for, you know, from what I understand, on a vegan diet, you got to spread your food out a little bit because it's hard to get all that carbs in at one time. You're going to feel very bloated. Now I'm going to find out for myself on the 100-day vegan experiment. But in general, if you're hitting it, you're going to overpower that liver. Now, once again, I think you can have a vegan diet that's wide ranging, so you're not overloading it with fructose. But in general, that's concerning. Now, again, this is where we get into how he's cherry picking data. So he says, he shares this here oh, but this is probably conspiracy shit. So share something, mark it on nutrition.com. Vegans have more testosterone. He also shares here. Here is facts. Doesn't say anything else, just here's facts. Vegan men, more testosterone, but less cancer. From nutritionfacts.org. Now, if you go to mediabiasfactcheck.com, which is, I think, something very important that you guys need to be using, this is a very important website to find out if the website you're looking at has a bias or if they're lying and stuff. So I'm just going to check real back in the chat here. There you are. I can hear you. Okay, awesome. So I really suggest bookmarking this. I use this website almost anytime I get science from a website that, not even science, just articles in general, media that I haven't seen from that website before. So guys, bookmark this. I'll share it into the chat right now as well too. Mediabiasfactcheck.com. Now, when you go plug in nutritionfacts.org, we'll even do it here live for you guys. So, did I spell that right? Nutritionfacts.org. Just so you guys can see that I'm not bullshitting. Conspiracy and pseudoscience from this website. So, has this media source failed a fact check? They are far on the side of conspiracy level and pseudoscience. They have mixed reviews. Sources in the conspiracy pseudoscience category may publish unverifiable information that is not always supported by evidence. These sources may be trustworthy for credible, verifiable information. Therefore, fact-checking and further investigation is recommended on a per-article basis when obtaining information from these sources. So again, it's mixed reviews. The history, analysis and bias. While eating a high diet in fruits and vegetables and low in red meats is scientifically proven to be beneficial, Dr. Greger takes it to a higher level, promoting a 100% plant-based diet. According to the science-based medicine website, Dr. Greger and nutritionfacts.org makes zealot-like claims about the benefits of a vegan plant-based diet. And I think there's, just go back to here. So yeah, that's all I shared there. Just to show that, like, guys, you can't just take everything as factual that you see on the internet. You really have to look into it. So it's very important. Like, again, this guy is just trying to say that I'm cherry picking data. I do a 35-minute video breaking down 4 or 5 different studies, and the largest one of these studies is covering hundreds of studies that covers millions and millions of people. And their conclusion is, this is like, keep doing what you're doing because it's very weak and not very conclusive on what to justify here. So guys, you got to be very careful, especially when you're seeing other people sharing information online. It's just, you can't always trust it. Like, it's ridiculous. And this guy is so lost in his head. This David Kolb guy, like, he's using everything in the books to try to justify his diet. And it's like, bro, I don't care. Do what you want. But all the science you're sharing here is weak. So this is actually, he came back after the red meat video came out, and I debunked him on my YouTube video. He comes here and shares this study. Vegan diet and testosterone. Does a vegan diet lower testosterone? So we can go to this study here, or this article. Vegan diets and testosterone. If you guys want to dive in, I didn't really dive into this Dr. Gary Cowish, but he's like an eye doctor who's making diet suggestions, which is like, who cares? But if we go look at the very first study, will not lower your testosterone. We go click on this study that this guy uses for the article that David Kolb is trying to use, and we go down into... The information in this narrative has been extrapolated from a broad range of academic disciplines, such as the epidemiological and health sciences, in addition to sports nutrition literature. This is due to little information being available that discusses or investigates veganism in sport and health and fitness-related context. Therefore, in some instances, recommendations provided herein have not yet to be fully authenticated via scientific investigation. This David Kolb guy, who's a militant vegan, who's out there trying to justify his narrative about the world, trying to show others, you should eat vegan too because I do it, and it's healthy, it's great. He doesn't even look into the science himself, or he would see that the one of the articles he shared, the recommendations provided herein have yet to be fully authenticated by scientific investigation. It's ridiculous. Like, some of these guys, it's insane how high-headed these people are. I'm saying I don't know. All I know is that nutrition science is weak, and that's why I'm continuing to do my thing. Now, I understand if you have moral aspects and you do it for the ethical reasons, that's great. But if you're going to justify science, I hope you look into it first. Sorry, I keep talking to this camera. I keep forgetting. All right, so we're going to pop back into the chat here before I cover the next subject. Let me just cross this off the list here. Again, I have discussion topics. I'm actually trying to get a little more legit here for you guys. So we covered the carnivore versus vegan experiment. Some of you guys are new joining in. You're going to have to watch this live stream again. But basically, starting May 13th, I'm going carnivore for 100 days. Then I'm going to take 3 weeks off, go back to my normal diet. Then I'm going vegan for 100 days. So this is going to be basically the next year of my life. For the rest of this year, I'm going to be doing this large experiment. We got cherry picking data out of the way. New book alert is out of the way. And yeah, so we'll pop into the comment section here. We got someone in the private chat. Oh, I see. And after I discuss some of the comments here, we're going to actually look at someone, a doctor out there who I've debunked on my channel before. I keep talking to this camera, who definitely cherry picks data. And he just made a new video trying to say, intermittent fasting is not the best thing for muscle growth. He keeps saying this, but has no strong science to make this claim. And why? Because he wrote a thesis on eating protein spread out throughout your day. So he has a big narrative. He has to keep every week, every month trying to justify his thesis. And he just won't admit that he doesn't know. He's very dedicated to it. Now, I feel he's using better rhetoric, but it is what it is. Morgan Sailor's in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Says hello. We got Black Pearl 13 says nutritionfacts.org/Dr. Greger is the cherry picker number one. 100%. And a lot of vegans, or at least this militant vegan, uses this as conclusive evidence for his narrative in the world. Again, eat how you want. I don't really care. But in general, it's weak stuff. So Viking Pup Wayne is in the chat again. Thank you so much for being here. Says, can hear you. This is when I thought everything was messing up on me. I'm not sure what happened there. That was weak. Unknown Expression says, have you read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius? I love Stoicism. The new translation version is excellent. Actually, I do have that on my my book stand to read. I have that book. It's been sitting there for a couple of years now. I think I read a page or a chapter, and it just wasn't my thing at the time. I'm definitely into Stoicism. I think that's honestly one of the best ways to live is to live a Stoic life and a Stoic lifestyle. So I might actually get into that book next instead of jumping into the 33 strategies of war. So yeah, Light Forever says at Vegan Gains. I've been following Vegan Gains for a while now. I was making videos on my first year or two trying to see if, he'd be willing to have a discussion and a debate with me. At that time, I definitely wasn't ready for him, but I feel I'm more than ready now than ever to have a deep discussion with him. I think at least when I was watching him several years back, he was definitely militant in his ways. I think he's definitely toned down, but he's very married to the vegan lifestyle and the vegan diet. Now, again, I'm saying there's no conclusive science and evidence to say if it can, a meat diet or a vegan diet is healthy long term. The science is very weak. Nutrition science is very weak. And that's the only kind of conclusion that I would base off our discussion with him. He'd probably throw some science at me and I'd look at the science. I would need some time. I don't know if we could do it live, but if he were to give me some of his science ahead of time and that way I could review it, I would deduce why I believe it's most likely weak science and that there's not enough strong scientific evidence to say why. But yeah, I'd love to have a discussion with Vegan Gains. So Unknown Expression says, I think keto works, but I can't see myself sustaining it long term. It definitely shows results, though. Yeah, limiting carb intake, depending on what your goals are, I think is great. Intermittent fasting limits your carb intake. No, it doesn't limit your carb intake, but it depletes the carbohydrates in your body. And I think that's one of the biggest issues most people are dealing with. And it's that you're not giving your body the time and ability to use fat for fuel. Your body loves carbohydrates. It will use it as the primary food source. You put carbs in your body, it's going to start using it almost immediately. It's going to start breaking it down and using it for fuel. Now, your body loves also running on fat for fuel. But some people who eat 6 to 8 small meals a day or overload their bodies with carbohydrates, their body for years may very rarely, if ever, be switching to a state of fat loss. And that's what keto is. Keto is just a diet that limits your carb intake and puts you into a state of using fat for fuel. Why is it called keto? Because your liver breaks down fat. I believe it's your liver. I could be a little wrong there. I'd have to refresh myself. But if I understand correctly, your liver breaks down fat and turns it into ketones for your brain and your body to use as fuel. Now, you can do that either by your diet, or you can deplete the carbohydrates from your body from physical exercise, or with just enough time. So if you fast for 16 hours with your body's natural thermogenics and your natural physical activity, it's most likely, again, if you're not overeating carbs, that you're going to naturally deplete the carbohydrates from your body on a daily basis, which again puts you in a state of fat loss. In a state of fat burning and using ketones for fuel, which I think is very important. But some people never ever get there because they're just, eating carbs spread throughout the whole day. So we got Viking Wayne Pub says, good evening. I done the keto diet last year and lost 3 stone, fell off the wagon at Xmas. Really need to get back on it. So again, I think you can utilize the ketogenic diet to help you attain fat loss. But I also think, since we're on this subject, that it's not the most enjoyable diet. Like, yeah, you get to eat a lot of fat and you get to eat a lot of stuff, but it's not a long-term maintainable diet. It's not a long-term maintainable lifestyle. So what I think is utilize it for fat loss at key points in your life. Some days I'll reduce my carb intake. Like again, yesterday, if you guys were in the stream earlier, I had a whole pizza and a bunch of wings because I had a little cheat day, a big cheat day. But in general, like right now I'm fasting. I've been fasting all day. So my body, and we did a workout this morning as well too. So my body is most likely, if not definitely, in a state of ketosis. It's using fat for fuel, which has benefits to your mental cognition. It's helping me cut fat, like use fat as fuel right now. So I'm burning fat basically. There's no carbohydrates in my body right now if I am correct. Now, again, I did eat a whole large pizza to myself, so maybe I am still carved up. But if I were to have a regular day yesterday, I would still be getting all the benefits of a ketogenic diet or the state of ketosis from just intermittent fasting. So I think what I suggest for people in my optimized course or people I've trained in the past is not to build your life around a ketogenic diet. It's not an enjoyable lifestyle long-term. Tia Fargo says, Vegetable Police is a very nice guy. Yeah, that's what I've seen. He seems to be a very down-to-earth, great dude, just sharing and documenting his life. Again, I haven't watched him in a while, but I'm excited to check up on him later in the year and use him as a human experiment. So 110 Link says, hopefully carnivore will not become boring after a while. Need to figure out a way to flavor the palate. Yeah, that's the only thing. I feel like I'm someone who can just eat the same thing over and over again. I do like to change things up because it's something that's enjoyable in life. But I feel like over time it will get boring. It's like meat, chicken, eggs, I think salmon and fish, and like salmon roe. And that's basically it. I think maybe you can have like milk and stuff, but I'm even going to try to stay away from dairy. I don't know. Again, I still have to do a lot of research, but yeah, I feel like, after a month or so, it could definitely get very boring. All right. So let me just hide that comment there. So again, I want to discuss this real quick since we're on the topic of cherry picking data. I keep looking at the big camera. Actually, before we do that, guys, if you are interested, now I still do have to do a test on this stuff. I ordered some of this already. So if you guys are interested and you guys want this, just understand that I haven't I ordered it today. I spent several $100s purchasing this stuff, but I've created some merch. So if you guys see in the description box, I have some merch out. I just created this today with Janelle, our media manager. If you guys saw the music video, that someone made a song out of one of my microdosing videos or my magic mushroom videos, and I made a whole. So he made like a techno trance song, and I made like put a bunch of images up, and then that's what I've been using as my intro and outro for my videos lately. And I made some swag and merch from this. So emotionally invincible. It's going to take about a month for this stuff to come in. I'm not going to talk about this merch until the merch comes in and I'm wearing it in videos. But if you guys are interested, this is the only time I'm going to mention it for the next month until it comes in. But we have emotionally invincible sweaters and shirts in. We have the big HE logo. I'm excited for that one. And then we have I microdose mushrooms. I can't wait for this one. I microdose mushrooms and the stigma behind psilocybin use. I feel we got to be representing this stuff. If we want to see this stuff change in the world, now I'm not going to be taking mushrooms for the rest of this year, basically, but I'm going to rock this sweater and videos and this t-shirt. So if you guys are interested, again, I ordered it. It's coming in. It's going to take about a month for this stuff to come in. But if you guys want, go check out the description box below. I would love to see people rocking this in the world, showing that like we need to end the stigma behind psilocybin use, and they need to see, people out there in the world need to see functioning human beings, functioning members of society openly saying, like, look, I experiment with mushrooms. Like, I do this stuff. So if you guys are interested, go check it out. Now, Janelle definitely said, like, because these are sweaters, that I might have put the font a little too far out. We might have to shrink these down. So again, if you guys do decide to purchase this, just understand that this is the first trial run. And again, I'm not going to mention these again until I get it in. I'm just wearing it in videos. But if you guys are interested, in the description box below, you guys can be some of the first people to get some Hungarian experiment merch. So I'm really excited for the iMicrodose mushrooms sweater and the emotionally invincible sweater. I can't wait to be rocking those. But once again, what were we going to pop into here? So Dr. BioLane. So someone just featured this on my latest community video. I dropped this video here, and someone shared this link, and I was like, ooh, what is this? A YouTube video. And Dr. BioLane, which, again, I've made a whole video debunking Dr. BioLane. I think he has a very big narrative out there in the world, and he's trying to justify it with any kind of piece of scientific research that comes out. He wrote an article on growth hormone, and a lot of people out there in the world use his article to try to justify why growth hormone is something that you shouldn't, it's not important. Oh, look at this guy. It's something that's not really important to concern yourself about. And I personally think that you should be trying to optimize your hormone levels as much as you can. And I've shared in other videos, I keep looking at the wrong camera. And I shared in other videos that fasting for 20 to 24 hours in men has shown a 1,500 to 2,000% increase in your growth hormone levels. Now, once again, he discusses in here why he thinks it's important. And I think this is one of the first videos that I've seen where he's doing well with the way he talks, with his verbiage. He's saying, theory, this is a theory, this is a theory. But he does say at one point here that intermittent fasting probably isn't the best thing for muscle growth. So I just left a comment here. He's another zealot of IF at BioLane. See, I'm not a zealot. I do it in my life, but I don't care what you guys do. I'm living the lifestyle. But I left a comment saying, as you said multiple times, theory. That's all we can do here is theorize based on limited short-term studies and results done on rats and strength output and lean mass done for 2.5 months on noob lifters or people who haven't lifted in for a year. So I'm not even going to play this video because my last video got pulled down for playing a video, but he uses this scientific piece of research here to say that it is good to eat your protein spread throughout the day, and it's better for muscle growth than it is for intermittent fasting. Now, he does quote, I quoted him saying, he says intermittent fasting probably isn't the most optimal thing for building muscle, but I say you don't disprove this with this claim and with this study. So if we look at this study, it was The methods was a 12-week study, so 2.5 months to test long-term muscle growth. Pfft, stupid study in my opinion, but let's take it. Let's roll with it. Where is it here? So they took 33 healthy young men. They had a bunch of people drop out, and the participants needed to be non-smokers who had not done RT, so resistance training, for over a year. So they took a bunch of people who haven't lifted for a year and tested them for 2.5 months to try to say long-term muscle growth. So just by looking at that vegan guy from before, and now looking at Dr. BioLane, a doctor out there in the world who has, where's his subscribers? 167,000 subscribers, who tells his followers to call people zealots, to call people like me who support an intermittent fasting lifestyle, and base it off the research that we see in regards to hormone increases, that it's good to do this. I think it's good and beneficial. Now, he's trying to say that it's not the best thing for muscle growth. So I say, well, again, all we can do here is theorize based on limited short-term studies and results done on rats, and the strength output and lean mass done for 2.5 months on noob lifters or people who haven't lifted for over a year. If you want to stand basically naked with a bunch of other dudes on a stage one time a year and dedicate your life to growing muscle as your main priority, then your theory based on weak science may be plausible. But in general, there is no discussion here on the long-term hormonal effects of intermittent fasting, which greatly benefits muscle growth, long-term health and life longevity, and disease prevention, which would benefit the 99% of people who won't go on a stage. So what I feel like he doesn't mention in his videos is that he's talking to bodybuilders, people whose whole life is building muscle. Like, great. If that's what you care about, go for it, guys. Do it. But again, the science is very weak to say anything. And he's definitely someone who cherry picks data. He cherry picks so much data to try to justify his claims. And again, if you guys are interested, I believe in the description box below there, I featured the, and if not, I'll feature it again. It's why you can't trust Dr. BioLane Norton. He's a doctor out there who is cherry picking data. He's using his bias to push this narrative in the world. He has exercise programs and workout and diet programs. So he has something to prove. He has something to sell. Now, right now, I am starting to push merch. I am starting to push my optimized course, which covers every aspect of your life as a human being. It's not just on diet. It's not just for trying to put on muscle. And again, I'm 30 years old right now. My whole life isn't dedicated to muscle, but are you trying to tell me that like I'm not able to put on muscle with intermittent fasting? I've been fasting all day. The other day I did a 40-hour fast. It's easily possible to put on muscle with intermittent fasting. Is it the most optimal way? Is it the most best thing to do if you want to stand on stage naked with other dudes? We still don't know. The science isn't clear, but a lot of people for so long have been eating 6 to 8 small meals. And when they see Dr. BioLane's science, his weak science, in my opinion, and listens to him, they follow what he says. So that's my whole thing. We can cross that off the list. So I'm probably going to make a video diving deeper into his video there and his weak science to show that, like, again, why you can't trust this guy. You guys got to be very careful who you're listening to out there in the world and listen to what words they're saying and actually look at the science that they use, because they use very weak science to try to make bold recommendations in the world. Now, again, I think this is the one video where he's being very, he's actually saying like, this is a theory. This is a theory. This is theory. Like the first minute he's saying theory, which is great. Thank God he's finally admitting that he doesn't know anything. But if we go look at his, so he wrote a whole article and used about 12 to 15 different studies. Trying to say that, like, guys, don't worry about growth hormone. You don't need it. It's not that important. Like, and even in the conclusion, he's saying, we still don't really know. But he used all these references here to justify that. And he used studies to justify why young, healthy men shouldn't be concerned with growth hormone. And when you actually dive into the science, 3 or 4 of the studies he's using is done on like 60 to 80-year-old men. Again, done for 2 months. Very short term, done on like 12 to 20 people, and then half of those are like the placebo, and then they're only really testing half of them. But he's making these bold recommendations. He's making these bold suggestions here saying, oh, you don't need to do this. Intermittent fasting is not optimal. But he has no science to prove it. But you know what he does have? He has his thesis. He has his narrative saying that this is why you should do it. So if you guys really want to see, I made a 52-minute long video diving into all his science, showing why it is weak. It's very weak to do this. It's very weak to trust this. What is this? Oh, okay. But yeah, so again, I ripped apart all his science, and this is why it took a 52-minute long video. But you guys got to be careful. Just because you see someone online who's a medical doctor or got a PhD, like, you guys have to understand, he went to school for like 4 or 5 years. He has to pay for his schooling for 4 or 5 years. And he wrote a thesis, and he has to continually back that up. And he, I believe, is definitely cherry picking data. So thank you guys so much for being in the live stream. I'm going to check out some more of your comments and see if there's any more suggestions for the carnivore versus meat diet. But tonight is Work Wednesday here at the mansion with the Click. Now, again, because of quarantine, we're not able to we're not able to have the whole clique here. So we're actually going to do a Zoom live where we're going to watch a movie or watch a video together. So I'm excited for this. And I got to cook up my first meal of the day before then, because, intermittent fasting doesn't result in muscle growth, of course. But let's check out some more comments here. So Unknown Expression says, do you like hot, spicy food, food like Indian? The hotter, the better. I do like spicy food, just not all the time. I used to actually work at an Indian restaurant as a server for a while, and I love the food, definitely. And we've had some Work Wednesdays. We've actually had Indian food. So Jared Balver says, thoughts on Vegan Gains, the YouTuber. So I mentioned this a little earlier in the live stream. I haven't watched him a lot recently. I know a couple of years back, I was making some videos to say, hey, let's have a debate. Let's have a discussion here. And he was very militant in his ways back then. I've seen a couple videos recently, and he's definitely calmed down his demeanor, but he's just very, like, on certain subjects, he's like, this is how I am on it, and nothing else is going to happen. So if I were to have like a debate live with him, which I've seen him do with other people, again, my whole narrative is that science is weak. And I bet every piece of science that he gives me is going to be like BioLane science. It's done on very short term. Or the nutrition science that I broke down in the red meat causes cancer, not good science video, where it's not conclusive enough. It's not enough to say that it causes heart disease or it causes cancer. It's so hard to test that long-term in a human being. And there's always going to be contradictory science and information out there. So I'd love to have a debate with him. Again, I haven't watched him recently. I feel like he's really calmed down his demeanor, but I know in the past too, he's like suffered from mental health issues. He suffered from several other, issues in life, which, is understandable. I'm not trying to shit on him for that, but is that from the vegan diet? Again, I'm not trying to say that 100%, but I remember him being very militant in his ways, and, I'm not sure if he has changed. It'd be interesting if you guys let me know. Unknown Expression says, question, if you were planning a trip, would you skip the microdose for that day? So I think it's important to microdose, every third or fourth day. If you're going to microdose with magical mushrooms, like, you don't want to do it consistently every day. And it depends on what your trip is, where you're going, what you're doing. Microdosing, you should be doing it at such a low level that you really don't 100%, like, you don't notice it really. I put it up to about 0.4, 0.34 to 0.4. So that way I was slightly feeling it, but not enough. Like, I would still go to coffee shops. I would still like do my normal daily activities, go to meetings and stuff while microdosing. So yeah, why not? But I'm not trying to recommend doing mushrooms at all. That's your choice, guys. So Misha Mayabel says, when you get it in, I will definitely purchase. Awesome. That's amazing. Can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to check out some of this merch and be able to rock it in some videos. Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. So Jared Balver says, you can't microdose every day. Builds an immediate tolerance. Is most effective every 4 days or so. Need to take twice as much to get the same effects from the day before. Yep, I agree with that. All right. So I think this is the last comment here, and then we're going to cut out, and then I'm going to go actually cook up a nice sirloin steak roast and a bunch of potatoes, and then go hang out with the clique. So Black Pearl says, book recommendation for your carnivore experiment is the carnivore code, Paul Saladino. So he's actually the person on the podcast that I'm listening to right now with Ben Greenfield. I recently just started following him on Instagram because I'm definitely very interested to hear what he has to say and see some of the science that he's done on himself. So the carnivore code. Thank you very much, Black Pearl. All right. Well, I believe that it is, guys. Thank you so much for being here with the hangout with the Hungarian L-4. Thank you so much for popping in the live stream here. Thank you so much to everyone who shared their comments, asked questions here. Really appreciate having you guys along the path and the journey. Again, not too sure what happened with the camera here. Quite disappointed in that, but we did have the backup reserve. So thank you guys so much for being part of my journey. I truly appreciate you guys. Without you guys, I'd just be some crazy dude. And I'd probably be doing these experiments anyways, but it's amazing to be able to share this path, to share this journey with the world, and to have people out there who are taking on aspects that they found help to optimize and benefit me. That's all I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find the aspects in life that optimize me as a human being, that optimize my mind, optimize my body, so that way I can, do the best at whatever I want to do. And the things that I want to do is I want to try to provide value to you guys. I want to try to provide value to other people out there in the world by optimizing myself. Right now, I'm wrapping up my book called The Scientific Narrative, The Story of Science, Why Science is Weak and Why We Need to Fix It. And if you guys haven't seen here from everything that I've shown in this video, so much science out there is weak. There's only so much we can conclude from it. And we're pouring millions and millions of dollars into scientific testing every year that's just producing weak results. So we need to change the system in a way. I'm not saying we need to get rid of the system, but we need to change it. We need to improve it. So that's what I feel like my journey is leading up to right now. So once again, thank you guys. And that's part of the value I want to provide in the world. So thank you guys so much for being part of the journey. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I am the Hungarian Experiment. The mustache. See you guys.